How did trying to sell a guitar end with the FBI at my door? My uncle Boone died 3 weeks ago. He left me his guitar, a beat-up acoustic he'd had since before I was born. I didn't play, so I posted it online. I listed it for $200. Within an hour, my inbox was flooded. Someone offered me $5,000. I thought it was a scam, so I ignored it. Then someone offered me $10,000. Then $20,000. Then $50,000. The messages kept coming and they were getting stranger. Where did you get this? Does your family know you're selling it? You have no idea what you have. One guy wrote, "I'll pay anything. Name your price. This is not a joke." I didn't understand what was happening. It was just a beat-up guitar that my uncle played on his porch for 40 years. I wrote back to one of them asking why everyone was so interested, and he just said, "Take down the listing. You're going to attract the wrong kind of attention." That creeped me out, so I deleted the post. But the messages kept coming. People had screenshotted my listing and shared it somewhere, and now they were finding my profile and messaging me directly. One woman sent me a message that said, "We need to talk. This is about more than a guitar. Please call me." I didn't call her. Another guy offered me $100,000 and said he could wire it today and begged me not to sell to anyone else. I started to wonder if my uncle had stolen this thing from somewhere. Maybe it was worth way more than I thought. Maybe it belonged to someone famous. But when I searched for valuable acoustic guitars, nothing matched. I couldn't figure out why people were losing their minds over this thing. I showed the listing to a friend and he didn't recognize it either. I almost posted it again just to see what would happen, but something told me not to. I just left it leaning against the wall in my living room and tried to forget about all the weird messages. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't sleep. I kept looking at the guitar and wondering what my uncle had gotten himself into. 3 days later, there was a knock at my door. 2 people in suits holding badges. FBI, we need to ask you about a guitar you posted for sale online. My heart nearly stopped. They asked where I got it and I told them my uncle had just died and left it to me. They asked what my uncle did for a living. I told them he was a handyman, but he'd been a roadie when he was younger. The 2 agents looked at each other in a way that made my stomach drop. "Do you know who Milo Vance is?" I shook my head. "He was one of the biggest folk musicians of the 1960s. Sold out arenas. Had a record deal worth millions." "What does that have to do with my uncle's guitar?" "Because that's not your uncle's guitar. That guitar belonged to Milo Vance. It was custom made for him in 1965, and there's nothing else like it in the world." I didn't know what to say. They kept going. Milo Vance disappeared in October 1971, walked out of a venue after a show and was never seen again. No body and no trace. The case has been cold for over 50 years. His guitar disappeared with him, and people have been looking for it ever since. I felt like the floor was tilting. Your uncle's name came up in the original investigation. He was questioned multiple times. He was the last person seen with Milo Vance the night he disappeared. That's impossible. Did your uncle leave behind any other belongings? I told them about the storage unit I still hadn't gone through. They asked if they could come with me. We drove there together. The unit was full of boxes and old furniture I'd been putting off dealing with. One of the agents found a locked metal box buried under a pile of clothes. They asked permission to open it. I nodded. Inside were dozens of newspaper clippings about Milo Vance's disappearance. They spanned decades. My uncle had been following the case his entire life. Underneath the clippings was a journal. The agent opened it carefully, and I recognized my uncle's handwriting immediately. He started reading out loud, and every word felt like a knife. My uncle wrote about how Milo treated him like garbage and humiliated him in front of crowds and called him stupid and worthless. How Milo owed him 3 months of pay and laughed in his face when he asked for it. He wrote about how he waited for Milo behind the venue that night and how he did it and where he put the body. The last entry was dated 1 week before my uncle died. I'm dying and I still don't feel bad. He deserved everything he got. The guitar was always mine. It should have been mine from the start. They found Milo's remains exactly where the journal said they'd be. His daughter called to thank me for giving her closure after 50 years. My uncle got away with it his whole life. I hope it was worth it.